Legend lives on from the Chippewa on down to the great lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore 26,000 times more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. The good ship and true was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. You know, that song is about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, the sinking of a ship that happened 50 years ago yesterday. November 10th, 1975. The great Gordon Lightfoot wrote that, and he considers it to be one of his greatest songs. A guy that wrote If You Could Read My Mind. A man who wrote Sundown and Carefree Highway. You know, Gordon, if you were alive in the 70s and 80s, was on radio constantly. And, you know, just a brilliant singer-songwriter. A guy that Bob Dylan covered. It's interesting that song was released just that next year. A Newsweek article came out in late November of 1975, and he had the song written by December of 1975 and released the next year. Pretty amazing to think about that song's almost 50 years old itself and has stood the test of time. It's one of my favorite songs. I was at a party about 25 years ago and met a couple. And they told me about being in high school in 1975, and that they both worked at a camp. They said it was in Michigan. I don't remember where. I want to say Grand Haven, Michigan. But the first picture that they took together as a couple dating, and they ended up getting married and having children, in the background was the Edmund Fitzgerald. Think about that. How cool is that? How eerie is that? I want to salute the great Gordon Lightfoot. Gordon died, unfortunately, back in 23 at the age of 84. Just one of the great storytellers of his time. For him to consider that one of his great works is pretty interesting for a guy that wrote perfect songs. You know, Sundown is a perfect song. If You Could Read My Mind is a perfect song. And all those verses of the Edmund Fitzgerald. What are some of my favorite lines in that song? Well, I like the line, does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they would have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. You know, again, music and folk music has always been about storytelling. And I remember hearing that song a long time ago and connecting with the story and the eeriness of those winds of November come slashing and taking. Superior rolls, like Lake Huron rolls and Superior sings in the rooms of her ice-water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. The islands and bays are for sportsmen. And farther below, Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. And the iron ore boats go, as the mariners all know, with the gales of November remembered. Anyway, rest in peace those on the Edmund Fitzgerald. Rest in peace to the great Gordon Lightfoot. In a musty old hall in Detroit, they prayed at the Maritime Sailors Cathedral. And the church bells rang 29 times for each man on the Redmond Fitzgerald. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down to the Great Lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they say, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early. I think there's supposed to be a capo one too. Peace out, see ya.